So one of the greatest things that we get to experience as persons is coming to know other persons. We get to know their personality, their history, their experiences, and we get to engage them in relationships and in friendships. Every so often I'll be out at like a mall and walking around and realizing, wow, there's a lot of persons that I have never met yet. Like I don't even know who these people are that I'm passing by. And what a great experience it would be to get to know them, to meet them. And I just imagine that like heaven is going to be an amazing experience where not only are we encountering the persons of God, in all their glory, but we also get to know other persons that just in this life we never had a chance to meet. One of the downsides of a fallen nature, though, is that we take personhood for granted so, very intensely. I was on the phone the other day with the insurance company, and the person I was on the phone with, I was no longer thinking of them as a person. I was just more kind of like utilizing them to get the job done because of my frustration. I'm not proud of that fact, but the reality is that we can sometimes depersonalize other people when we want to use them for an end. And it's not a good part of our nature. As a matter of fact, it's a very bad part of our fallen nature. And we see this time and time again, like most sexual sin, there's a dehumanizing factor, there's a depersonalizing factor, better said, that we're no longer seeing them as persons to be admired and seen in great awe, but they become the mere means for our own gratification. And that can, lead to other horrible things like abortion. We're not seeing the personhood of the child in the womb. They're simply now a nuisance, and they can be removed. Very sad what we can do. Nazi Germany, we see, that the Germans that were following the Nazi orders, were killing the Jewish people because they were not recognizing their personhood. So we have this ability because of our fallen nature to depersonalize others and just use them for whatever ends that we're trying to get at, which is, entirely opposite to God's plan, where personhood is the greatest reality. The three persons of our God are the greatest reality out there, and then the created persons that they've made, the angelic persons, human persons, and getting to know them and interact with them. One person that we take for granted all the time is our guardian angel. God has created an angel to watch over us, guide us, and communicate his messages to us. And so often we totally ignore our own guardian angel. And that's this tendency to acknowledge, to ignore and not acknowledge personhood in the fullest way. Well, how do we get over this? How do we get healed from this? Well, I'm pretty convinced that our Lord Jesus, in his great love for us, became, the Eucharist. He comes to us in the appearance of bread, in the appearance of wine. That our Lord Jesus, who is the second person of the Trinity, a divine person, comes to us in the appearance as an object so that we can come to know his person through the object, and that we can then be, healed from this objectification of persons that we're capable of. So I think the Eucharist is the antidote then for us to get over this tendency to depersonalize, where we encounter the person of Christ, in the appearance of bread, in the appearance of wine. There's no bread there, there's no wine there, but we need faith to penetrate the veil that the bread and wine is in order to encounter the person of our Lord. And as we go through that process of engaging his person as the Eucharist, we then, I think, are becoming freer and healed from our tendency to depersonalize other people. We become more person-sensitive, recognizing how personhood is really at the center of God's kingdom and our capability of acknowledging personhood. And so if you find yourself like me having the tendency from time to unfortunately use other persons for our ends, for, as simple or horrible as that might be, in different situations, then we need to spend more time with our Lord in the Eucharist to encounter the person of Jesus, who is the second person of the Trinity, through the appearance of bread, through the appearance of wine, to help us then to overcome our own tendency to depersonalize people.